Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. All holy praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, who came in the divine person of Master Farah Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest message, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I would like to greet my brothers and sisters in the nation's greetings of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Jason, and I'm a proud registered member of the Nation of Islam. It is my honor and duty to host this meeting today. We thank Allah for his coming and for raising up among us his messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to teach us the knowledge of ourselves, the knowledge of God, and the knowledge that leads us from death into light. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, there is no greater gift than the truth that gives life to a people who have been spiritually immensely dead. Our subject today is out of the How to Eat to Live Book 1, Proper Food for Body and Mind Equals Good Health. Now, let's first define the word proper. The word proper means correct, suitable, appropriate, and fitting for a particular purpose or situation. Our situation is not ordinary. We are living in a divine time under divine guidance. Therefore, we need divine food that is suitable not only for the body, but also for the mind and the soul. When many people hear this subject, they immediately think about what is on their plate. And certainly, food is important. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad devoted 2 books to teaching us how to eat in order to live, because proper food is essential to health and long life. He teaches that there is no way for us to learn the right way to eat except through the guidance of Allah. But this subject reaches far beyond physical food. Every day we feed our minds with thoughts, conversations, books, music, entertainment, and the company we keep. Just as spoiled food can poison the body, corrupt thoughts can poison the mind and spirit. That is why we must choose carefully what we allow ourselves to consume mentally and spiritually. Every thought we entertain is planting a seed. Those seeds eventually produce fruit. If we feed ourselves with truth, wisdom, righteousness, and knowledge, then those qualities become part of our character. But if we continue to feed ourselves with falsehood, hatred, fear, and ignorance, they will eventually shape our lives. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that slums exist because slums first exist in the minds of the people. If the mind is not clean, no amount of cleaning the neighborhood will permanently change the condition. The resurrection begins in the mind. The Bible expresses the same principle. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Our thoughts become words. Our words become actions. Our actions become habits. And our habits become our character. And our character determines our destiny. This is why we must have the best of both worlds, proper physical food and proper spiritual food. We must also be careful whose table we're eating from. Not every table serves food that gives life. Some tables feed confusion, division, hatred, greed, and even death. Other tables feed truth, discipline, righteousness, wisdom, and life. The food may appear attractive, but if it's not divine food, it cannot produce divine results. Allah, Master Farah Muhammad, in his great mercy, did not leave us without guidance. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that Allah came himself to give us the knowledge of himself so that we would no longer be deceived by the enemy of the righteous. After centuries of suffering, mental slavery, and spiritual blindness, Allah has provided us with supreme wisdom and a divine guide to teach us how to live, how to think, how to eat, and how to become a new people. Brothers and sisters, we are living in the very days that the Bible and Holy Qur'an foretold. This is not another ordinary period in history. This is the day of our resurrection, our judgment, and the establishment of a new world. We have been blessed to receive guidance that previous generations longed to see. If we sincerely follow the instructions that Allah has given through His messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, fortunate indeed we are. So I thank each and every one of you for being here today to hear these life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to whom Allah raised specifically for us. He loved us enough to sacrifice His comfort, endure persecution, and faithful deliver Allah's words exactly as He received it. He did not seek followers to make slaves out of us, as so many have done with knowledge. Rather, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad labored to make us into a people Allah intended us to become: free, righteous, intelligent, disciplined, and examples for our own people and ultimately for the world. Therefore, I ask each of you to keep an open heart and an open mind throughout today's class. These teachings come from love. Love for Allah, love for His messenger, love for you, and love for our people. May Allah bless us to receive both the proper food for our bodies and the proper food for our mind, so that we may enjoy true health, long life, wisdom, peace, and success. I thank you for your kind attention. Assalamu alaikum. So we're going to start reading from the book, the scriptures. The messenger starts off by saying, on the coming of God, according to the Bible and the Holy Qur'an, He began the work of creating a people who must and will enjoy a long life and good health. Let us pause and reflect on that statement for a second. The Bible speaks of a day when God would make Himself known and dwell among His people, as it is written in Revelations 21:3. It says, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people, and God Himself shall be with them and be their God. This prophecy points to a time when God would no longer seem distant, but will make Himself known to His people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that we are living in that promised day. This is the time of rejoicing because Allah has not left us without guidance, brothers and sisters. He has come to seek and save a lost people and raise us into a new life. It is important that our understanding comes from the scriptures and not merely from the traditions of men. Throughout history, many ideas have been taught about God that cannot be found in the Holy Qur'an or the Bible. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad constantly encourages us to search the scriptures for ourselves, because these books is written about you and I. And if a teaching does not agree with the word of God, we should carefully examine it before accepting it. So just think that over on the coming of God, right? God came. You shouldn't take that lightly. As Revelations 21:3 confirms that God will come plainly and dwell among His people. So the next question we should ask is this. As the messenger says, He began to create a people. How does Allah create a people? He creates a people first by teaching them. He gives them divine laws, righteous principles, and a way of life that transforms them from the inside out. His teachings reshape our thinking, our character, our habits, and even our physical health. Many people have developed a negative view of laws and rules because the laws of this world have been unfair, oppressive, and unjust. And as a result, when Allah gives commanders, some mistakenly believe they are meant to restrict our freedom. But brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you the opposite is true. Allah's laws are an expression of His love for us. They're not given to imprison us, but to free us from the things that destroy our lives. His guidance teaches us how to eat, how to think, how to conduct ourselves, and how to live in harmony with His divine will. His law protect our bodies, purify our minds, strengthen our families, and prepare us to enjoy the long life and good health that He, Allah, desires for us. Jesus said in John 10:10, I come that you may have life and that they might have it more abundantly. The abundant life begins when we submit ourselves to Allah's guidance, which consists of rules and regulations to better you and I. When we truly consider what Allah has done for us, let alone that He just came to free us, let alone that He kept His promise to Abraham, let alone that the scriptures prophesied of His coming. But when we realize that we can never pay Him for His mercy, His wisdom, and His love, yet there is a way that you and I can show our gratitude to Allah. We repay Him by striving every day to become the best versions of ourselves according to His guidance. We honor Him by obeying His commandments, developing righteous character, caring for our bodies and minds, and becoming examples of a new people He came to create. When we live according to Allah's divine guidance, we begin to experience a complete life, a life filled with peace, purpose, good health, and happiness. It is a life in which we continue to grow in righteousness and have access to everything good that Allah has prepared for those who follow Him. So, this is Allah's plan. This is what was prophesied of Him, that He would, God, behold, the tabernacle of God is with man, and He would dwell with them, and they shall be His people, and God Himself shall be with them and be their God. So think that over. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in the next paragraph, the earth is full with food, but good health cannot enter our bodies until we have the proper food in the body and the proper food for thought. If we do not have the proper food for our way of thinking, we still cannot enjoy peace, good health, joy, and gladness of heart. Now, let us reflect on that profound statement of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaks about the food that enters our mouths, he directs our attention to the food that enters our minds. He teaches us that proper health is not limited to our physical condition. Our thoughts, beliefs, and understanding determine the quality of our lives just as much as the food we eat. This reminds us of what is written in the Holy Qur'an. Holy Qur'an, Surah 5, verse 15 says, O people of the book, that's us. We're the people of the book, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches. There has come to you our messenger. So a messenger has come to us, revealing to you much of what you used to hide in the book and passing over much that is now unnecessary. There has indeed come to you from Allah a light and a clear book. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad points us to this verse as part of his teachings. The word messenger or apostle signifies one who is sent by Allah with His authority to deliver divine guidance. The verse also speaks of a light and a clear book. Think about those words for a second. A light and a clear book. Light removes darkness. When a room is dark, we stumble because we cannot see. When a light comes on, everything becomes plain before our eyes. Likewise, divine guidance removes the darkness of ignorance and error. The verse also describes the book as clear, is guidance that is understandable and practical. Allah does not intend to confuse us. He intends to lead us into a better way of life. Think that over. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that we must have a divinely guided teacher to show us what is beneficial and what is harmful. Left to ourselves or following the opinions of the world, we cannot always distinguish between what gives us life and what destroys us. This is why the messenger teaches us not only what foods to eat, but also what thoughts to accept and what ideas to reject. So there is a proper food for the body and a proper food for the mind. Proper physical food builds a healthy body, and proper spiritual and mental food builds righteousness, character, sound judgment, peace of mind, and joyful of heart. So this is why the messenger teaches us that without the proper food for our thinking, we cannot fully enjoy peace, good health, joy, and gladness of heart. We may have an abundance of material food, yet still suffer from confusion, anxiety, fear, hatred, and division because our minds have not been nourished with divine truth. When we sincerely study and live by these teachings, the result becomes visible. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that divine guidance transforms the whole person. It changes how we think, how we speak, how we conduct ourselves, and how we care for our bodies, and how we treat one another. So that transformation becomes evident in our character, our discipline, our peace of mind, and even in our physical appearance and health. This is the fruit of receiving the proper food for body and mind. As we understand, the earth has always contained food, but without divine guidance, we have not always known what to eat or how to live. Allah in His mercy has provided guidance through His messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so that we may receive the proper nourishment physically, mentally, and spiritually. When we follow that guidance faithfully, we begin to experience exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad promises: peace, good health, joy, and gladness of heart. But I really want you to study that scripture in the Holy Qur'an. It plainly tells us that we are the people of the book and that there has come to us our messenger, one that was raised from among us, that knows our condition, that been through what we've been through, probably even more, can understand our plight and fight for you and I in the name of Allah. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues to say, we can eat the best foods. We can take fast for 9 days or for 20 days or 30 days if we want to. And we still suffer if we do not feed the brain with the right food. It's going back to the mind. He's always bringing us back to the mind. And as they tell you, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. You know, that used to be a slogan. And now as you grow older, you start to understand it. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. So when the messenger keeps teaching us about this brain food, let us think deeply about what the messenger is saying. Many people believe that if they simply improve their diet or fast regularly, they will automatically enjoy good health and happiness. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that this is only part of the equation. A healthy body cannot reach its full potential if the mind is constantly fed unhealthy thoughts. Think that over. This is why the Bible confirms. See, the Bible always confirms what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad verifies what's in the Bible with his truths. So the Bible says in Matthew 4:4, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. Bread nourishes the body, but the word of Allah nourishes the mind and the spirit. And this is what we need, nourishment of the mind and the spirit. We need both if we are to experience the complete life that Allah desires for us. That's why the title is Proper Food for Body and Mind equals Good Health. The right food for the mind is the thoughts of Allah. It is the truth instead of falsehood. It is hope instead of despair. It is faith instead of fear. It is peace instead of confusion. It is righteousness instead of wickedness. The messenger later writes in the same chapter, think the way he thinks, the thoughts of good. Seek to be like him. God he's referring to, Allah he's referring to. Seek to be like him. Now the definition of seek is to attempt to find, to attempt or desire to obtain or achieve. From the Old English seekan, meaning to look for, to strive after, and in the theology of time, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger, teaches that God himself is the seeker, and he is represented by the prophets as coming to seek his own. So to seek, to be like him, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, is to attempt to or desire to obtain. These are things that we can do once you set your mind to it. So he's letting us know, seek to be like him, both physically and mentally. Think that over. We can be like God. We have that ability to be like Allah. It's yourself, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. We are all Allah. But there is one supreme among us. But the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching us, let's seek to be like him. And this is the proper food for the brain. Yet, we know that is not as always easy. Every day we live in a world that constantly feeds us fear, anxiety, debt, grief, anger, lust, violence, and discouragement. The pressures of life can weigh heavily upon us, and sometimes it seems that nothing is going our way. And if we're not careful, those thoughts become the food our mind consumes. This is why we must deliberately feed our minds with the remembrance of Allah and the teaching he has given us through his messenger. And we must also call upon Allah in prayer, asking him to strengthen us against the burdens of this world. And one of the most beautiful prayers taught in the Nation of Islam is, O Allah, I seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. I seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. I seek thy refuge from cowardice and ungodliness. I seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice to me which is lawful, and keep away from me which is prohibited. And with thy grace make me free from want of what is beside thee. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad pointed to this prayer because it addresses many of the greatest obstacles that stand between us and true freedom. Anxiety weakens us. Grief can discourage us. Debt can become a burden upon our minds. Oppression can make us feel powerless. But when we remember Allah, study his guidance, and pray sincerely, our minds are strengthened and we begin to think differently. We stop allowing our circumstances to define us, instead allow Allah's guidance to direct us. The messenger is showing us that real fasting is more than abstaining from food. We must also fast from the destructive thinking. We must refuse to feed our minds with hopelessness, fear, hatred, and doubt. Instead, we must feast upon the thoughts of goodness, truth, and divine guidance. So this is why the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that even if we eat the finest food and fast for many days, we will still suffer if the brain is not receiving the right nourishment. Physical health and mental health work together. Can't separate them. The body follows the direction of the mind, and the mind must be guided by the wisdom of Allah, or we're going to make mistakes. When we constantly feed our mind with Allah's words, seek refuge in Allah through prayer, and strive to think the thoughts of good, we gain the strength to keep moving towards the goal that the messenger has placed before. And that's a life of peace. Whereas the messenger teaches throughout this chapter that peace is not merely the absence of trouble, it is the beginning of heaven within. So you have to create peace. You create it in the mind. Everything comes out of the mind. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, he says, the Bible teaches you that God gave the dead more life. And he comes to give you more life and abundance of life. How can he do that for us unless we help ourselves to the assistance he is helping us seek? We must help ourselves in this way to prolong our lives. Obey and do all that Allah bids us. Think the way he thinks, the thoughts of good. Seek to be like him, both physically and mentally, as the Holy Qur'an teaches us. When we have submitted ourselves entirely to the will of God, he then guides us into his path, his way of life. Now, brothers, let us think deeply about what the messenger is teaching here. When he says, as the Holy Qur'an teaches us, when we have submitted ourselves entirely to the will of God, he then guides us into his path, into his way. The Holy Qur'an says, nay, whoever submits his whole self to Allah and is a doer of good, he will get his reward with his Lord. On such shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. You take those two things away, we're living in heaven. We're in heaven. This is what we burden with today. Those two things, fear and grief. Holy Qur'an 2:112. This verse teaches us that submission to Allah is not partial. It says that we must submit our whole self. That means our thoughts, our desires, our conduct, our habits, our speech, our way of life must all come under the guidance of Allah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that Islam is entire submission to the will of Allah. He further teaches that when we submit to Allah, fear and grief begin to lose its power over. Allah's desires is to guide us. This is what Allah desires, to guide you and I. A beautiful thing. Think that over. What Allah wants to do for us. He does not desire for us to fail. He desires that we become successful, upright, peaceful, disciplined, and righteous. But notice the order. First, what we must do, we must submit. Then he guides us into his path. Don't you want to be guided? I know I want to be guided into Allah's path, but we must submit. Think that over. This means that guidance is not merely information. It is a way of life. And Allah guides us into the way he would have us live. And I remember my minister always telling me, you got to live an Islamic life. Everything has to be in accordance with the will of Allah. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching us to seek to be like Allah. Seek to be like Allah. That's heavy. You don't hear this nowhere else. Seek to be like God. What other place you can go where the preacher or anybody tell you, seek to be like God? Because we believe in God to be a person. Nothing in the sky, there's no mystery. That's why they can't tell you to seek to be like a mystery, because he doesn't exist. But when you come into the Nation of Islam, we teach that everything is real results, real outcome from real individuals. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaching us to seek to be like Allah both physically and mentally. In the same paragraph, he says, obey and do all that Allah bids us. Think the way he thinks, the thoughts of good. Seek to be like him, both physically and mentally. To live in Allah's way means to strive to become peaceful, content, wise, intelligent, loving, caring, honest, trustworthy, kind, and just. Who doesn't want to be around a person, or who doesn't want to be that person? Someone that's out of their mind or not in their right mind. We should all desire to be that person. This is not merely religion in words. It is development of divine character, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. Think the way he thinks, the thoughts of good. When Allah guides us into his path, this is his desire. Remember, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about that. He desires to guide us in his path, in his way. He is guiding us away from fear, grief, confusion, indecency, and destructive habits of this world. He is guiding us into a pace of peace, discipline, cleanliness, order, and righteousness. This is where he's guiding us to. This is why it's very, very, very important that we guard our peace, guard it. We must also guard our minds, our homes, our surroundings, and the companies we keep. The messenger teaches us that our thoughts and minds must feast upon the spirit of goodness. When that happens, the spirit of evil cannot find a place among us to dwell. We should not knowingly place ourselves in surroundings that work against the peace and righteousness we're trying to develop. If we're striving to protect our thoughts from evil, we should not constantly expose ourselves to temptation, indecency, confusion, and wicked conduct. This does not mean that we hate people. It means that we value the life that Allah is building within us. A garden must protect what it grows. We have a garden in the back. We put all types of nets and things to protect it from the birds, to protect it from the deers, to protect it from all types of animals attacking our crop. There's nothing wrong with that. You have to protect it if you want it to grow and you want to get some nourishment from it. In the same way, the mind must be guarded if it is to remain filled with the thoughts of Allah. This also helps us understand the importance of the righteous community. That's why building a nation is very, very important. Having a community of like-minded brothers and sisters is very, very important. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes that it would be a joy to live among people who think alike in righteousness and who are striving to obey the law of God. A righteous community strengthens the individual. It gives us an environment where peace, discipline, good character, and obedience to Allah can grow. The streets of this world offer many temptations: indecency, foolishness, violence, drugs, alcohol, dishonesty, and wicked conduct are placed before us on a daily basis. Therefore, we must limit our exposure to those things that weaken our minds and disturb our peace. In a nation, we have a disciplined society. We don't keep late hours. We don't let anybody in our homes. We try to, guard our eyes from certain things, lower your gaze. We don't want to be tempted by this world, because anytime you go outside, brothers and sisters, they tempt you. See billboards inviting you to indecency. See the world around you inviting you to indecency. It's not too many invites to righteousness. They invite you to the club, inviting you to this function, that function, but not to righteousness. So we must guard our peace. We must not go backwards in the same environment from which Allah is trying to raise us out of. Submission to Allah gives us protection. It protects our thoughts. It protects our character. It protects our peace. It protects the new life that Allah is creating within you and I. And the goal is not merely to avoid evil. The goal is to seek to be like Allah, which will pull you away from all evil. Think that over. Seek to be like God. When you seek to be like God, you don't want nothing that God don't desire for you. That's why you hear people saying, I love that. What would Jesus do? Reminding themselves, what would Muhammad do? You in this situation, what would Muhammad do? What would Elijah Muhammad do? What would Jesus do? What would Moses do? What would Abraham do? You know they're going to do the right thing because they want to seek to be like God. So we would submit our whole selves to him and become doers of good. He guides us into his path. In that path, fear begins to leave. Grief begins to lose its hold. And we begin to experience the peace of Islam. Think that over. As we continue, he says, O soul that is at rest, enter in my gardens, into my paradise, among servants well pleased and well pleasing. The messenger says, this is what man has sought, the heaven within and the heaven without. Messenger says, listen to this one. If heaven does not begin within, we will never enjoy it on the outside. Think that over. Many of us, including myself, grew up hearing the saying, you're a product of your environment. I believed that for many years. But through the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I came to understand it differently. Yes, our environment is a product of what is in our minds. If our minds is filled with peace, we begin to create peaceful environment. If our minds is filled with order, we create orderly home. If our minds is filled with righteousness, we create righteous community. If our minds was filled with love, we create loving family. The world around us reflects the world within us. Think that over. It's in our minds. The messenger teaches that heaven must begin within because what is in our minds eventually becomes our reality. We create peaceful places just as we create slums. In the message to the black man, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a profound statement. He says slums exist because slums exist in the minds of the people. You see it. You see it. We create heaven just as we create hell. We create peace just as we create war. Everything begins with a thought in the mind. This is why the messenger spends so much time teaching us to feed the brain with the right food. If our thoughts are good, our lives begin to reflect those good thoughts. If our thoughts are corrupt, sooner or later our environment will reflect that corruption. People often say if you think it, you can achieve it. There is truth in that principle because every great accomplishment first begins as a thought. But the messenger teaches us to go one step further. Our thoughts must not merely be positive, they must be thoughts of Allah. When our thoughts is guided by Allah, we begin to build the kind of life Allah desires for us. This helps us understand why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in the next sentence, nearly all of my followers and I are already in heaven. Think that over. Not something that's in the sky that you receive when you die. You know, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad debunked that myth. So we know that not to be true any longer. And those that still believe there's something after you die, keep coming to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching. Pick up his books. Read that first few chapters in the Message to the Black Man. You will come to understand that there is no heaven outside of that heaven that we create here on earth. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us nearly all of my followers and I are already in heaven. How could he say that while living in a world filled with trouble? Because it was trouble in the world when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad here, but he said nearly all my followers. Why? Because heaven had already begun in their minds and within them. They had peace in their hearts. They had contentment in their hearts. They had confidence in Allah's guidance. And because heaven was within them, that they began creating the same heavenly conditions in their homes, their families, their businesses, and throughout the nation. The messenger teaches that our mind feasts upon a spirit of goodness. Therefore, evil can no longer find a comfortable place to dwell within us. When our thoughts become righteous, our surroundings begin to reflect that righteousness. So the question is not simply, what kind of environment am I living in? The greater question is, what kind of environment am I creating? Because we have the power. Because according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if heaven does not begin within us, we will never experience it on the outside. But when heaven begins within us, we begin building heaven everywhere we go. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues to say, as I read, and I'm going through it right now, but still within ourselves we are happy because the evil world does not attract us anymore. Doesn't attract you because there's no thought of it in your mind. You got it out of you. The evil world does not attract us, as it says in our lessons of the law. Stood among evil without falling victim to this evilness. It says we do not desire the kind of life the wicked live. Our thoughts and minds feast upon the spirit of goodness. And this is a simple statement that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, but it's so profound. Everything that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says is so profound and is so simple. As the Holy Qur'an says, he makes the book clear. Now, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in this one sentence, remember, life is what you make of it. Life is what you make of it. That's simple. Life is what you and I make of it. We have to take responsibility for it. It's what we make of it. Why? Because God is on our side, brothers and sisters. So whatever life we desire, we can make if it's of good, because he wants us to be good. But remember, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, life is what we make of it. So this means that we're not required to remain prisoners of the condition around us. So through right guidance, right thinking, discipline, and obedience to Allah, we can begin changing those conditions. The condition within the people will eventually appear on the outside of them. Thoughts of peace can produce peaceful places. Thoughts of cleanliness can produce clean homes and community. Thoughts of unity can build a nation. This is why we must carefully guard what enters the mind. The thoughts we continually entertain will eventually influence what we say, what we do, what we tolerate, and what we also build. The messenger did not merely tell us to imagine heaven. He gives us a practical definition of heaven and teaches us how to enter that condition. Submit to Allah. Obey his guidance. Think the good thoughts of good. Seek to be like him physically and mentally. It is truly that simple, brothers and sisters. Think of the righteous life that you desire. Paint that picture clearly in your mind and begin walking into it, because you are the artist of your life. Like a painter standing before an empty canvas, you must first see the finished picture within your mind. Then through discipline, faith, obedience, and righteousness, you begin bringing that picture into reality. But we must remember that this is not merely wishful thinking. We cannot think about peace while practicing confusion. We cannot imagine cleanliness while living in disorder. We cannot desire heaven while continuing to feed our minds with thoughts and habits of hell. The picture in our mind must always be followed by the action that we desire. So if you see yourself becoming disciplined, practice discipline. If you see yourself living in peace, remove the habits that disturb your peace. If you see yourself in good health, obey the laws of Allah. And if you see yourself in a righteous home, begin speaking and behaving righteously within that home. If you see a strong community, become trustworthy and dependable member of that community. Paint that picture, brothers and sisters, and let's walk into it. This is how Heaven begins within, it becomes visible on the outside. So remember, the thought becomes the intention becomes the action becomes the habit, and the habit becomes the character, and the character helps shape the environment in which we live. So may Allah bless us to hold that right picture in our minds and give us the strength, discipline, and faith to bring that picture of good into reality. So brothers and sisters, let us remember our subject. Proper food for body and mind equals good health. And we know this to be true, but knowing the truth is not enough. We must desire it, practice it, and make it part of our daily lives, and we are to receive any good from this one Allah, this one life that Allah has given us. Let us make up our minds today to do better. Make up your mind to become a better person, first for yourself. Even if no one else recognizes your effort, you owe it to yourself to strive to become the best person you can be, not according to the standards of your job or the standards of society or the opinions of others, but according to the standards of Allah, God. Allah's standard is righteous. And I remember hearing Mike Tyson tell a story about a difference between being called a great man and becoming a good man. He said that for many years, people told him that he was great, but as he became older, being called great no longer meant as much to him. He came to understand that all great men are not necessarily good men, but many good men can become great. Think that over. The world may call a person great because of fame, money, talent, power, or accomplishment. But none of those things alone can make a person righteous. A good man is honest. A good man is trustworthy. A good man is disciplined. A good man treats others with respect. A good man seeks to live according to the will of God. The same is true for a good woman. Our goal is not merely to have people call us great. Our goal should be to become good according to what Allah's standard is. And when we sincerely strive to become good, true greatness can grow out of that goodness. So don't chase a title. Do not live merely for praise. Do not measure your worth by what other people say about you. Strive to be a good person. Strive to become a righteous servant of Allah. And goodness, remember, must begin within us, just as heaven must begin within us. When goodness is in our minds, it appears in our conduct. When peace is in our minds, it appears in our surroundings. When righteousness is in our hearts, it becomes visible in the life that we live. So let's feed our body with proper food. Let's feed our mind with proper thoughts. And let's guard our peace and protect our sacred spaces. And think thoughts of good, and then bring those thoughts into reality through righteous action. And brothers and sisters, with that, I thank you for being here. Please share these life-giving teachings with others and visit our website at templeofislam.com and to learn more about the divine teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. May Allah bless us to become better today than we were yesterday and better tomorrow than we are today. I leave you in the nation's greetings of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.